3 years ago, they buried my name in front of 200 people who once called themselves family. Tonight, I'm not walking back in to explain myself. I'm walking back in to take everything they thought they could keep. They said I stole $12 million from my own father's company. I didn't say a word that night. I just remembered every single face that looked away. My brother smiled that day. My father didn't even ask me to explain myself. He just needed someone to blame. Today, I don't walk in as the girl they threw away. I walk in as the majority shareholder who just bought their company. And they have no idea what's coming. My name is Seo-yun. This is how I took back everything they stole, and why I refused to stay erased. After they cut me off, I had nothing. No name, no money, no family. Just the truth, and 3 years to prove it. I almost gave up more times than I can count. Jian was the only one who believed me when everyone else had already decided I was guilty. He found what the police never bothered to look for. The money wasn't stolen by me. It was moved through 4 shell accounts. And every single one led back to my brother. The man who smiled while they destroyed me. My father didn't even look at the evidence. He just needed someone to blame before the shareholders panicked. And I was the easiest target. He told me never to use the family name again. So I didn't. I built something stronger than a name. I built proof. Under a different name, I quietly bought 18% of my father's company. Today, I bought the rest. Every share they thought they controlled, now answers to me. In exactly 4 minutes, my father is going to find out who really owns his company now. And there is nothing he can do to stop it. Floor by floor, I rehearsed the words I never got to say 3 years ago. Words I had earned the right to speak. My brother always said I'd never have the courage to come back. He forgot something important. I had nothing left to lose. His face went pale. Because he finally understood, I wasn't here to ask for anything. I was here to take everything. Seo-yun. What a surprise. Not as much of a surprise as what's in that folder, Appa. For shell companies. 3 years of transfers. Your signature on every single one. I have the originals. And the digital trails you thought you erased. He screamed that I'd regret this. I just smiled, because he hadn't even seen the second folder yet. The one with our father's name on it. 6 months ago, Jian found something even bigger than the embezzlement. Something that went straight to the boardroom, and to the person who started all of this. It wasn't just Min-jae. My father knew. He knew from the very beginning, and he let them blame me anyway. But there was someone else. Someone who whispered the idea in his ear when no one was listening. This folder doesn't have your name on it, Appa. It has father's. And the person who told him exactly how to frame me. My father always said he could smell trouble before it happened. This time, trouble had already signed the building's deed, and he was about to find out who held the pen. He looked at me the way he never did 3 years ago, like he was finally afraid of what I might say. And he should have been. 3 years of silence. And in the next 10 seconds, all of it was about to break. The question was, who would break first? Seo-yun, don't. You don't get to say my name like you missed me. You said it once when you threw me away. Every transfer. Every signature. Every email you thought was deleted. I have all of it. And I have the one thing you never expected, proof that you chose to believe a lie. He finally asked the question he should have asked 3 years ago. Why didn't you ever defend yourself? My answer changed everything between us. Because the daughter you raised was taught that proving her innocence to people who already judged her was beneath her. I kept my silence because I still had dignity. You took everything else. I watched the man who taught me never to show weakness finally show his. And for the first time in 3 years, I didn't feel small. But Min-jae wasn't thinking about guilt. He was already trying to warn someone else. The person who had the most to lose if the truth came out. Director Choi. The lead auditor who originally signed off on my conviction. The man who looked me in the eye and called me a liar. Go ahead. Call him. I've been waiting 3 years for this call too. Because I already made mine. Because Director Choi already sold us everything he knew. In exchange for immunity. And a very generous severance package. Every shell account he opened. Every signature he forged. It was already in the hands of the Financial Crimes Unit. There was nowhere left to run. For the first time in his life, my father had to choose which child to believe. And the evidence had already chosen for him. There was no coming back from this. He looked at the window like it was an exit. It wasn't. It was the 42nd floor, and he finally understood, there was no escape from what he'd done. He didn't jump. He just broke. 3 years of arrogance collapsing into a single chair. And I felt nothing. Not joy. I didn't need him to apologize. I just needed him to finally tell the truth on paper. The truth that would set me free. And then my father finally said the words I waited 3 years to hear. Words that would either heal or destroy what was left of us. I was wrong. I was your father, and I chose convenience over my own child. I am so sorry, Seo-yun. I don't expect you to forgive me. I just needed you to know that I know what I did. I didn't come back for an apology. But I won't pretend it didn't matter. Some wounds don't heal. But they can stop bleeding. But forgiveness was never going to be the end of this story. There was still one more person who needed to answer for what they did in the shadows. The same boardroom. The same chairs. Except this time, I wasn't standing accused. I was sitting as chairwoman. And every single one of them knew exactly why. Most of them voted to disown me 3 years ago without asking a single question. Today, they needed my vote to survive. And I was going to make sure they remembered exactly how fast they turned. I wasn't just here to clear my name. I was here to make sure this never happens to anyone else in this company again. New rules. New accountability. And I was holding the pen. Effective today, this company adopts a mandatory independent review for any internal accusation before termination or public disclosure. No more trials by rumor. No more sacrifices for convenience. No one in this room argued. Because they all remembered exactly how fast they turned on me. And how easily it could have been any of them. But there was still one person I hadn't faced yet. The one who started it all from the shadows. The one who whispered the lie that destroyed me. My stepmother always stayed quiet in public. But she was the one who suggested blaming me in the first place. The one who told my father it would be cleaner if I took the fall. I haven't played this for anyone yet. Not my father. Not the board. Not the press. It's been sitting in a safe for 3 years, waiting for the right moment. She begged me not to. For the first time in 3 years, someone in this family was finally afraid of the truth. And I had the power to destroy her with one touch. I didn't play it. Not because I forgave her. Because I finally understood, I don't need her ruin to know my own worth. Destroying her wouldn't heal the part of me they broke. It would just make me like them. I left the recording on the table. A reminder that the truth would always be there, waiting, if she ever forgot again. Some victories don't need an audience. I didn't get my revenge by destroying them. I got it by becoming someone they could never erase again. Someone who didn't need their approval to exist. Jian once asked me if it was worth 3 years of my life. Looking at the city below us, I finally knew the answer. It wasn't about them. It was about who I became while fighting for the truth. It was worth it, not for revenge. For the version of myself I became while fighting for the truth. The one who learned that silence can be power, and that walking away can be the ultimate victory. If someone ever tries to erase you, become impossible to ignore. Not by destroying them. By becoming someone they can never touch again. If this story hit you, if it made you feel something, hit subscribe. There's a new revenge saga every week on this channel, and trust me, You don't want to miss what happens next. Subscribe now, so you don't miss what happens when the woman who started it all finally has to answer for everything. See you in the next one.